Welcome to Conversations Different, a podcast of the Santa Fe New Mexican, focusing on interesting people and places of northern New Mexico. This week, it's all about Santa Fe Indian Market, the world's largest juried native art show, coming to the plaza this weekend. With us is Kenneth Johnson, a Muscogee Seminole jeweler, silversmith, and a market artist since 1995. Thank you, Kenneth, for taking time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Good. So talk about what market has meant to your career.
You know, I was going through the college route. I was a mechanical engineering student at University of Oklahoma, and I moved to New Mexico, and I started to realize how the art world is fascinating here because you can do what you want and be creative with it. You're not part of a corporate cog. And when I found that out, I started trading jewelry for things like tires or lunch. Or
I love it, the barter
clothing.
economy.
Yeah. And I started making jewelry full time. And I've been doing that for the last 35 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what I love about Santa Fe and New Mexico is that when you say, I want to be an artist, people don't say, are you crazy? They say, good. What's your art?
Yeah, they want to know your medium. So what the Indian market has mattered to me is once I applied and was accepted, that is a stage to perform on. So the canvas is the material, like silver. Let's say you have a bracelet or a buckle or a necklace. So I'm Muscogee and Seminole, or we're located in Oklahoma primarily, and also in Florida.
I was just going to say Florida too.
Yeah. So in our tribe, there's textiles are very common, and also pottery and shell carving.
You too, don't you?
Well, no, I did. In when I graduated from Indian boarding schools, and what they do to keep the kids occupied is teach them arts and crafts. So
oh my goodness!
I would do beadwork and things like that. Then I tried to do that out here, and I'm way faster with a hammer than I am with a needle and thread.
So you adopted silversmithing and jewelry.
And also sculpture.
And sculpture,
so
that's
all
right.
These designs, they will scale up. So my jewelry designs, basically I reach back into our Southeastern heritage. I'm so impressed with all the Southwestern motifs and the culture. And I thought, how can I be genuine with my own background? And
right, so, bring what you have to it.
Exactly.
I like that. And it's interesting. It's kind of the opposite. I'm thinking of George Rivera from Poake. He was a sculptor, and now he's gone smaller into jewelry.
Yeah, Tony Abeda also.
Yeah, that's right.
These guys, George helps me with my sculpture, so it's a good tandem.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I've noticed about market artists is obviously, there's competition, there's awards, there's that kind of thing. But the people really are like a family who help each other.
It's true. I think in families, people are competitive, and they're also helpful and can be assistive, and especially between the generations. When you start realizing as an artist, you're going to run out of time. There's not enough time to execute all these inspirations and ideas. So you start to share. And I think early in your career, you're looking for someone to help you. And so when you find that symbiotic relationship, that's when bigger things can happen.
Yeah, that makes sense. I used to do the special sections here at the paper. So I did Indian Market Magazine for a number of years. And one thing we always did is we'd go interview the Best of Show winner. And we drove to Gallup and I say we because I took my kid with me. He was a student at the School for the Arts then. And we went to Daryl Begay's studio, and he got to see him do tufa casting.
Oh, Daryl Dean. Yeah,
yes,
he's good.
It was so awesome. And it was kind of a family thing because my son's great-grandfather, I guess, was a Navajo silversmith who helped bring back tufa casting.
Yeah.
Herman Charlie was his name. And so to see that and to realize that was actually something that was in his heritage was just one of those amazing moments of art for a kid.
Well, what's cool about the Indian market, and everyone's going to see it this week when they show up, is that it's a continually evolving space. And so the stage is going to include your traditional styles and people, and it's also going to have innovation. So one of the things, I used to serve on the board of directors at Indian Market many years ago, over 20 years ago. And we also represented the Council of Artists at the time. where there was a little disconnect between the organization and the artists. So we had representatives of the artists on the board. And, one of the things, the voices that we wanted to represent are how do you protect the traditional styles and ways, and how do you include people that are coming out of IAIA and they're using new techniques and materials and processes. So what you're going to see is an organic version of that at every different table. So let's say you have a grandmother who's making traditional pottery, and then they have their grandchild or
That's
great-grandchild who's going to be doing something different, different materials. And, there's that space in between.
That makes sense. And
yeah.
I remember when the fabricators started coming into the jewelry categories, and people who did it the old-fashioned way were like, no, we're not the same thing. And that I think they've worked that out over the years, but I know that was a big deal about 15 years ago or so.
It's never worked out. It's always in flux.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when people can use the material to express an idea or concept or a value and, sustain their culture. And, a traditional value is to be able to provide for your family.
That's right.
And use it doing art.
Yeah, and if the market wants something new or different, then if you don't kind of move with that, you can't maybe provide. And also, who is to say what is native art except the native person himself or herself?
Yeah, it's always shifting.
Yeah. You kind of go back when you were talking about being at boarding school. You go back to the Santa Fe Indian School and the teacher who said, this is how you have to paint if you're a native. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't really the way everyone wanted to keep painting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you've got over 1,100 artists in this plaza area and down those streets, and it's exciting to see what people show up. People ask me, and this is the worst question to ask an artist, are you ready for market? And I want a T-shirt. I want to put a call out on this podcast. Make a really cool T-shirt that answers that question. Are you ready for market? And I want a bunch of smart answers.
No.
That would be perfect.
I like that. And if they don't ask you that, they ask you, how long did it take you to make this?
Yeah.
And where do you get your ideas?
Oh, my goodness. So show up, and then you see what makes it to the table.
Yeah, where are you at market? What's your booth?
So my booth is on Lincoln. I'm
Okay.
at 732 Lincoln, I believe.
Okay, that's right.
It's a new space for me because I
Okay.
started including sculpture. So before I was on Palace, and I had a 5x5 booth, which is jewelry size. And now we're including sculpture, and I'm really thankful to be able to move into that medium. And I've got help, like I said, people like George Rivera, best of class winner, Ryan and Sean Benali.
Okay.
Man, those guys they're talented, and they're helping me get familiar with the medium. I'm working in bronze and marble.
Oh, wow. I look forward to seeing that. We'll take a quick break and be back with Kenneth Johnson and Conversations Different.
Thanks, Inez. This is Patrick Dorsey, publisher of the Santa Fe New Mexican. We hope you're enjoying this episode of Conversations Different with Inez Russell Gomez. Great local content is only possible with a talented staff dedicated to bringing you the best local content possible. For that staff to do its work, we need your support by subscribing to the Santa Fe New Mexican. If you're already a subscriber, thank you. And if not, there's never been a better time to subscribe. In addition to our home-delivered newspaper that comes with full digital access, we also provide digital-only subscriptions for SantaFeNewMexican.com. We'll also be releasing more online-only audio and video programming moving forward. The Santa Fe New Mexican has been here for nearly 175 years, and we want to continue being your source for local news and information. Visit us at SantaFeNewMexican.com/subscribe or call us at 505-986-3010. Thank you.
It's a new day in New Mexico, and the doors to boundless opportunity are open as tens of thousands of New Mexicans reach higher to pursue a dream, broaden their horizons, and retrain for a better job. With the New Mexico Lottery and Opportunity Scholarships, you could build yourself a better future anywhere in the state. You put in the hard work, we'll help with the costs. For eligibility details, visit reachhighernm.com.
are back with Conversations Different, talking to Kenneth Johnson about Indian Market and all the exciting events of this week. I mean, one of the things that to me has changed a little bit over the years is Indian Market was a weekend, then it was a few more days, and now it's like almost the whole month of August, if not. But this week especially, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on.
This week is the rise up to the occasion. I know there's also the IAIA Gala on Wednesday night. Most of the galleries throw receptions on Thursday. Friday is your best of show, and you get to see everything that got entered into the Santa Fe Indian Market competition. You know, families are rooting for their kinfolk, collectors, or, you know, they want to see how their area of interest did. And it comes down to the medium. What medium won best of show? Yeah. And so, yeah, it's going to be a pinnacle event on Friday. And then Saturday, Sunday, everyone shows up to go see the artists themselves. It's a whole phenomenon to get up at 4 a.m., be waiting at someone's table, and to see what they're going to unveil.
Yes, yes.
And it's a whole process. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And I think people who are casual Indian Market goers, who just like maybe they go at 11 o'clock on a Saturday or Sunday, they miss that early morning wait. Because I remember sitting by somebody's booth, and at 8:01, the buyer had his checkbook out and said, "Here, I'm getting this." And it was like a $30,000 basket or something. It was crazy. But the collectors know what they want. And even just a casual collector, if you want a popular artist, you have to get there early.
Yeah. And, you know, supplies aren't unlimited. It's very finite. And so depending on who you want to collect, and a lot of people make a point to, they want to collect things that are affordable, or children's artwork is a big thing.
Yes.
And, you know, I was always excited when my daughter learned. I have two daughters, and they are helping me make jewelry. They help me finish things, and you know, you get the bug of creating. And then something that completes the circle is when someone appreciates what you do and they purchase that.
Yes. And I think there's something about buying directly from the artist that you can't replicate if you get it in a store or, you know, another place, even like you buy online or whatever. There's that conversation about the piece and what went into it that makes it so special, and it really becomes a family heirloom.
Yeah, it's true. You know, the stories that go along with it, or if you're buying it in a certain time of an artist's career, and
yes.
Like people miss out. They have FOMO of, I knew I should have got that early on. And people's work continues to evolve, and you think, you know, I was there. I invested in you know, their vision early on. Yeah. Or I wish I would have.
No, I know. I'm still going to get a Sheldon Harvey painting, but I don't know where I'm going to get the money. I just, you know, I've followed his career, so many of the artists, and every year he's doing something new and different. It'd be like if you had a big enough house to have the evolution of Sheldon on your walls kind of thing.
It's exciting. I like the community, and, you know, like I said, it's always evolving. And so Indian Market 2024, let's do more.
That's right. So, Kenneth, there's a big collaborative piece for this year to raise money for SWIA. They do it every year, but this year sounds like it's pretty special.
You know what? There's excitement because Indian Motorcycle out of Minneapolis has donated a brand new 2025 Indian Scout Bobber motorcycle.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's brand new. It's got 135 miles on it. And it is a canvas that tells the story of two young people who are coming to the Santa Fe Indian Market. So on one side of the bike is male energy, on the other side is female energy. And the bike has got stars all over it. Cody Sanderson's known for his stars.
That's right.
The star represents the bike. And then I'm from the Southeast, so I put a lot of scroll work into the design that represents the road. And so the male energy is represented by Philip Bread, who's a model of good young man who my family's grown up with. And also Quanah Chasing Horse represents the female side of this bike. And they are journeying to Indian Market. We made a custom handlebar that shows segments that represents the days coming up to Indian Market. And so, you know, the stars racing down the road, there's an arrowhead that's painted all the way down the center of the bike, and it has my lightning patchwork stamp work onto it. And it just represents moving forward. So Indian Market started in 1922 officially. And here we are in the 102nd year. And so the thing about a bike, it doesn't have reverse on it. We like to move forward. We're continuing to move forward and tell the story of so many other people's journey over these 102 years. So what are you going to look forward to at this year's Indian market? Is it the auction, the gala, the artwork? Is it the food? Is it the company? Or is it all of it?
Yeah,
And
it's everything. It's seeing your friends. I mean,
Yeah.
And what I love is like you see Senator Ben Nighthorse Campbell or, Deb Haaland, Secretary of the Interior. It's like the important people in the firmament of the native world and all the people who collect and see, we used to see Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg there.
Yep.
It's always fun, I think.
I got to sell a pair of earrings to her. That was so cool.
That is so cool. I just saw her walking down the street and was like stalking, and then I thought I better go away before the Secret Service gets me. But that was, and Madeleine Albright, I remember she has been, or maybe she just was at a feast day, but I saw her at the Santa Clara feast day one time. The Secret Service booted us so we couldn't stand up against the wall so she could have it. So, yeah.
Well, what's good is some of the crossover from things like the opera.
Yes.
And then the opera crowd that comes and stays over for Indian market, and those parties, and seeing a lot of the world comes to Indian market.
Yes.
And so it's the granddaddy of them all, and we're excited. Just like you, we're excited to not only see the other artists, and it's that time to get to show off what we've been up to all year, but also to see old friends. And I just ran into a lady who had a necklace I made about 15 years ago. And you get to recall how it was made when, and the circumstances and how it went out, and what it means to them now.
Yeah, I like that. And that's just that connection between patron and artist that you cannot replicate with anything else. And I always tell people who haven't been to Indian market, but maybe they went to Spanish market or even folk art market, I always say Indian market is that on steroids. Yep. There is nothing like it in the world, I don't think.
It's supercharged. So this Indian motorcycle for Santa Fe Indian Market is pretty cool. We call it the Indian Market Maiden, and it tells the story. So we used another medium. It's our canvas.
Oh, I like that. Okay, we'll take a quick break and be back with Kenneth Johnson and Conversations Different.
My name is Maria Jose Rodriguez Cadiz, and I am the Executive Director with Solace Sexual Assault Services. Our mission is to prevent sexual violence and empower survivors of sexual violence through restoring dignity, strength, and resiliency. For almost 51 years, Solace has reduced the impact of sexual violence. We do it by focusing on human rights, social justice, hope, and dignity. We believe survivors are experts in their own experiences and acknowledge that empowering them is crucial to their healing. Our advocacy, forensic interviewing, and therapy services are centered to their needs. Our sexual violence prevention programs in schools and community is just as important. Please check our website at findsolace.org. And if in need, you can call our 24/7 hotline, which is 800-721-7273. Your support is crucial to the lives of survivors. Thank you. Gracias.
We are back with Conversations Different, discussing Santa Fe Indian Market and all the ways that it makes possible for hundreds of small businessmen and women who just happen to be artists to make their living. And for you, you've made your living. I mean, I was thinking about the engineering, which has to help in the precision of making jewelry. You bring the creativity part, the artistic part, but you know how to do math and figure stuff too as you're creating your jewelry or your sculpture. Does that help at all?
It definitely helps. I use math in my work every day. Specific gravities and weights and melting temperatures, etc. And so it all incorporates. It all balances out. But and it's really helpful in fabricating, and also now that my jewelry is being scaled up into sculpture, then you've got to stabilize. They've got to have bases. They've got how does it wear outside, etc.
Yeah, I think people tend to think of artists like just kind of, oh, I'm an artist. But there's a lot of technical technique, all those things that go into it. That is very complicated, I would think.
It takes teams a lot of time.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you have expanded beyond your home. You have a studio here in town. Is that correct?
I've worked out of my home for majority of my career, but now I have a studio right downtown.
Oh, man.
And it's right across from the Coyote Cafe at 135 West Water Street, right underneath the new Boxcar restaurant.
Oh, okay. Are they loud? I mean, is that...
I'm louder.
Oh, good. Oh, because you're using tools and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have a cool studio, and what's neat about it, it's in a 100-year-old building, and it's kind of a combination of 3 buildings, but it's right on Water Street. And what's important about Water Street is that it is in the Tewa language, it was known as the Po, or a little river. And then in Spanish, it was the Rio Chiquito, the little river.
Okay.
But this, now it's just Water Street, but we know that the water still flows underneath it. And that energy is important. So I make canoe paddles, and I talk about things like the return of canoe culture to our Muscogee people and our Seminole people. So that's a good metaphor. The canoe paddle is a good metaphor for the instruments of your journey. So I'm positioned on Water Street. We know that energy is still out there flowing, and it's very creative energy too. And for those of you that don't know, the Santa Fe Indian Market office is also down on Water Street.
Okay.
And
it's moved so many times.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So we're part of that creative flow, and we're looking forward to having that flow for Indian Market.
Yeah. One of the things when you think about the energy of Market is it's got its artists, and it's got all the, galas, the gatherings of, like the Indian Defense Fund does something, all the different groups. Mm-hmm. And then it's got the gallery work where people are doing, half their business or 2/4 of their business during Market. But then you've got, now there's a show at Buffalo Thunder. You've got Free Indian Market. And, the antique shows that come before and after. It seems like it sparks so much energy throughout the town.
You know what's special is that all the shows that have risen up around Indian Market shows that the market can bear more. And just like Art Basel happens in Miami, and there's all these ancillary shows in different parts of town, that's what's happening in Santa Fe. And, there's room for people. There's room for everyone.
Yeah, I like that because once upon a time, SWIA was a little more protective, exclusive, and they didn't like other shows, and they didn't want details like in my magazines when I used to do them. And now the leadership is like the more the merrier, because every show is another artist being able to perhaps make a living.
Yeah, and look at the music and entertainment and fashion and film that has risen up around that. Yeah. Those are things that you couldn't have anticipated back when you're being protective. Now, when you're inclusive, more can happen.
Yeah, I hope they can bring back the moving image category as its own thing.
Category 10?
Yes, Category 10. Because remember the first year, the Black Horse Loaf little short. It was a little girl seeing a car for the first time in the Navajo reservation, and he tied with a Hopi. I think it was Stetson. Can't remember which one, but anyway, it was a traditional carving, and the film tied for best of show. It was kind of a cool juxtaposition to show where we've been, where we might go. And now you see Black Horse Lowe's name directing Res Dogs and different things, so it's like he's working.
Yeah, another medium.
Yeah. And I think I was talking probably to Jamie the last time we were speaking about the Native Fashion Show. I mean, there's this whole renaissance in Native fashion. You still have your traditional clothing competition, but then you have the fashion runways. Now you have the fashion show in May. And in film, you've got so many Native people telling their stories, whether they're writing, acting, or directing. And it just seems like such an exciting time.
It is, and for all the things that are being produced here in New Mexico, and then the actors and actresses that come through town, and you got to have art. You're wearing things, you're wearing regalia or jewelry, which we love. We want them to wear all the jewelry they can, and promote, because it is part of the culture.
Yeah, I loved seeing on the red carpet so much Native jewelry this last Oscar season because of Lily, and that just was so much fun.
Yeah, I've got some jewelry to make for the Oscars. I'm getting ready.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So what kind?
It's a gorget for Sterling Harjo, so we're rooting for him. That guy always represents. And for Muscogee people, a gorget is a large crescent-shaped necklace.
Okay.
And it serves, I've been using it as a canvas to have strong symbols, like a clan symbol or some element like fire or wind, things that are powerful.
Okay. So it's kind of like the squash blossom, but not the squash blossom kind of thing.
In fact, our chief, the chief of Muscogee Nation, the first and second chief, they go to Washington and they wear their gorgets, and because that represents the people standing behind them.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. One time, Taos Pueblo was negotiating to get back the bottleneck, which was the one piece of Blue Lake they hadn't gotten back. And my father-in-law was the governor at the time that happened. And there's a picture of all the Taos guys meeting with Bill Clinton. And he's in his little traditional, he has his blanket and he looks like a Taos Indian. And we love that picture because he went as who he was, and got to meet the president. And I always say, and the president got to meet Mr. Gomez because he was a pretty big deal in his day. And it's nice to see that he can take the gorget and, be who they are.
Yeah, these are nations interacting with each other. So
that's right.
It's good to have those symbols.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when Deb Haaland got sworn in and is wearing her manta to get sworn in as a member of Congress. I couldn't believe how much that moved me. And, and now it's more visible, maybe because there's social media or TV shows or whatever, but you've got it. People are understanding that Native people are still here. They have things that they're doing, they're alive, and, you're not hidden away anymore.
Yeah. I think the other part is the storytelling aspect of art. Art moves. The way you saw that and it impacted you, just that visual, and that still resonates because there's a good story behind it and all the symbols.
Yeah.
We speak in symbols in art. So when you come to Santa Fe Indian Market, people they might be quiet, but they're speaking volumes.
Oh, I like that. And on that note, it has been another Conversations Different. We'll be back next week.